Sawadika, very good evening and welcome to our special program. Even though the elections are over, but there are still updates about what is happening in Thai politics.
The election is over, but the official result it's not really finalized yet, even though Election Commission said that they will announce soon.
Yep.
But before their deadline for 60 days, but they're still not really making that announcement.
Exactly, but we'll begin tonight with the ongoing dispute which caused speculations as to whether Pita would be disqualified as an MP like his predecessors, like the Future Forward Party, which is his shares in ITV. It has been an ongoing dispute for so long already, and the dispute is whether ITV is still operating as a media company despite the fact that the TV channel itself ceased operations in 2008, and this is because the company itself is still making profit. But recently, Pita Limcharoenrat, who's the Move For Party leader, said that he has allocated 42,000 shares in the ITV company inherited from his late father to the other heirs already to preempt any attempt to revive the media company as political ammunition. Pita Limcharoenrat is accused of holding a stake in a media company in violation of the election law, which forbids electoral candidates from owning a media firm or holding shares in the company, the penalty for which is disqualification. In his Facebook post on Tuesday, Pita claims that the shares he inherited do not have any economic value after ITV was delisted from the Thai stock market by the Stock Exchange of Thailand in 2014. He also said that ITV is no longer a media company after the Office of the Permanent Secretary of the Prime Minister's Office revoked the contract with ITV to operate on the UHF TV spectrum on March 7, 2007, and designated the Public Relations Department to operate on that spectrum instead. However, the license was subsequently transferred to Thai PBS.
Pita claims that in the 2022 balance sheet of ITV, which was submitted to the Department of Business Development for consideration, there was a suspicious change in the core business of ITV from finance to TV and media advertising, despite the fact that ITV has ceased to be a media firm. Due to these unusual occurrences, he said, he decided to consult other heirs and decided to divide the shares among them, adding that the share transfer was not done with the intention to escape accountability. The Move Forward Party leader said that he is ready to defend himself to the Election Commission regarding the ITV share controversy without being distracted from his work.
Meanwhile, Thailand's Election Commission is yet to consider the complaint filed by political activist Rungrai Rikitwattana accusing Pita of holding 42,000 shares in the ITV media company, which, if it's found to be true, it would disqualify him from contesting the May 14 general election. The Election Commission's chairman, Ithipon Bumprakong, said that Pita's shareholding case is still being considered by election officials who are to decide whether there are enough grounds to forward it to the Election Commission.
Senator Prapan Kunmi, also a legal expert, said that Pita appears to be following in the same footsteps as Thanathorn Jingrungruengkit, former leader of now defunct Future Forward Party, the predecessor of the Move Forward Party. Thanathorn was stripped of his member of parliament status by the Constitutional Court in 2019 for owning 675,000 shares in VLUC Media, a media company which is in violation of election law. The senator said that Pita's transfer of ITV shares to other heirs was in the hope that he would be able to convince the court that he did not own the shares, but merely held them on behalf of other heirs in his capacity as executor of his late father's will, as he had claimed to the National Anti-Corruption Commission.
Well, we also came across another video explainer by a prominent money expert and influencer named Paul Pratarapon. He believes that Pita has a high chance of winning the case, and there are a few reasons. One of them is that ITV has ceased operations as a media firm since 2008. However, this point remains a dispute at the moment, and it's still under discussion, and that the Election Commission hasn't even went through all of the documents yet. At the same time, like we've discussed before, the 42,000 shares accounts for only 0.0035%. And this is very little to begin with.
Yeah.
And that has no impact to influence the media to lean towards their political party. And at the same time, Paul also pointed out that there have been similar cases in the past where some MPs, such as MPs from Palang Pracharat or Phum Chai Thai Party, holding shares in some media firms, but they were cleared of the accusations because of how the media company gains its profit. Some of them gain profits not because of how they were running a media company for news, but it's for live streams from sporting events or even educational seminars. So they actually have to look into the intention of how the media company is actually running when they consider each case. And most importantly, Pita is only an executor of the shares inherited from his late father, not the owner of the assets.
Talking about Pita, even though he's not officially the prime minister yet, and the Move Forward Party is not running the administration yet, but they already start working.
Yeah.
The latest development is that Pita just led a number of Bangkok member parliaments met with Chhatchhat Sithipan, the Bangkok governor, to discuss what they can be doing together in collaboration to solve the problems that Bangkok is facing. So Move Forward Party's 32 member parliaments elect for Bangkok, led by party leader Pita Limcharoenrat, met Bangkok Governor Chhatchhat Sithipan and his staff yesterday to discuss ways and methods of cooperation between the future government and the city administration in addressing all the pressing problems for the benefits of city dwellers. The problems raised during the meeting include PM 2.5 dust pollution, the planned relocation of Klong Toi port to reduce traffic congestion, the city's traffic light system, a tax increase on unused commercial land, and a single ticket system for bus services. Pita told the meeting that Move Forward Party intends to work seamlessly with the city administration to address unresolved problems and to deal with new challenges which may arise in the future. Meanwhile, Bangkok Governor Chhatchhat said that the visit to City Hall by Pita and his Bangkok MPs-elect marks an important first step in cooperation between the new administration and the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration. I would want to add the issue of pavement. Is that something that...
This is something that people have been complaining a lot, whether it's the pavements or the pedestrian crossings, because it seems like no government has been able to fix this problem.
And the crossing bridge, and they didn't talk about traffic. I guess that's beyond fixable or something.
Well, it depends how they actually discuss it. I think Bangkok Governor Chhatchhat Sithipan has promised that they will fix it, but it seems like there has not been much improvement. And speaking of pavements and pedestrian crossings, if we remember the notorious case where a motorcycle ran into a doctor and killed her on the spot, it did provoke changes about the pedestrian crossings, but it seems like it has stopped there and nothing has improved ever since. So we would love to see Chhatchhat and Pita work on this as well.
Very interesting. A lot of work to be done for the whole country and also for Bangkok.
Exactly. And previously, the coalition parties has set up 7 working groups to deal with various issues, whether it's electricity and diesel prices, the environment, PM 2.5 dust problems, and even the economy. So far, they have decided to set up 5 more working groups as well. So the transition committee of the 8 coalition parties has decided to set up 5 more working groups in addition to the 7 formed earlier to implement the 23 policies in their memorandum of understanding. Led by Move for a Party's Prime Ministerial candidate Pita Limjaroenrat, the Transition Committee met yesterday to follow up on the work of the 7 existing working groups, especially the group tasked with considering electricity charges and the diesel prices. The committee has been informed that the incumbent government is unlikely to extend the 5 baht per litre excise tax cut on diesel, which is due to end on July 20th. The 5 new working groups will be tasked with working on the economy and digital development, ending corruption, public health, economic and social equality, and land reform. Pita also said that leaders of the coalition parties will meet today to discuss the result of the meeting. Meanwhile, Pheu Thai Deputy Secretary General Phauphum Rojanasakul said that the party will propose to Transition Committee that all the policies to be implemented must be worth the investment, and that instead of increasing the taxes, the tax system should be revamped to encourage more businesses to enter it. Policies must be designed to take into account economic prosperity in tandem with an equal distribution of income. Meanwhile, Police Colonel Tawi Sot-song of the Pracha Chat Party claimed that the root cause of unrest in the Deep South is unfair land distribution and that there must be a roadmap for peace in the restive region. Anudit Nakornthap of the Thai Sang Thai Party also proposed that constitutional amendments must be treated as an urgent issue like energy prices to ensure fairness. So we can see that the coalition parties have been working hard implementing the transition committee and now up to 7+5 working groups now. We can see that the possibly new government has been working hard so that once the election commission has declared all the election results and the prime minister has been elected, it will be a smooth transition.
And before that happened, let's talk about the current prime minister a little bit, because there was just some kind of little bit of spat going on between Pita and Prayut yesterday, when Pita was mentioning about the investigation or probe into Prayut conduct as the leader of the country, whether he abused power and whatnot. And Prayut also actually responds that he's not afraid of it. So Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has struck off a veiled threat from Move Forward Party leader Pita Limjaroenrat that his future government will launch an investigation into alleged misconduct by the Prayut administration over the past 8 years. Pita said that he believes that Prime Minister Prayut should be willing to be investigated to determine whether he abused his authority or violated human rights, such as by the promulgation of a land law to claim forest land back from villagers who had occupied and utilized it for several years. The Move Forward Party leader has insisted that any probe into General Prayut and his administration is nothing personal or in retaliation for an attempt to by some to prevent him from assuming the premiership. Prime Minister Prayut also laughed off a suggestion that Deputy Prime Minister Anutin Charnvirakul, also leader of Phum Chai Thai Party, was engaged in secret conversation with Sethra Thavisin, a Prime Minister candidate of the Pheu Thai Party, over forming an alternative government while they were in London recently. He said Anutin was in London to watch a football match between Leicester City and West Ham United and might have had a chance encounter with Sethra at the stadium. How can any secret deal be done in a stadium where there were so many people? Asked the Prime Minister, which I think he made a good point. Think about it. You see in the football stadium, people only yell to be able to talk to each other.
That's a good point, because when you're in a football stadium, you would be cheering for a football team, not talking about secret deals, right?
And the Prime Minister said that he has nothing to do with the formation of the new government, but as head of a caretaker government, his job is to look after the people and to implement projects which can be rolled out by a caretaker government.
I think it's a good point, though, that it is completely impossible to have secret deals in a football field, in a football stadium rather, because the atmosphere is going to be really loud. It's like you're in a concert. How can you talk about politics when you're in a concert and you're focusing on what's happening on stage?
I just think people just love the idea of secret deals and some kind of conspiracy theory and all that. It's just idea to entertain.
even though the Pheu Thai party leader Cholana Sigao said that there are no secret deals anymore, it's going to be a love deals from now on. But then there are still speculations that there might be some hidden agenda as well.
Maybe sometimes it's difficult being well-known politicians show up somewhere and people just gonna watch what you're doing, especially if it's just during the setting up of the government.
Right, but anything can happen anyway, so we'll have to wait and see. And now let's talk about foreign policies. Thailand has always been neutral when it comes to dealing with global superpowers, whether it's China or the US. However, Pita previously told reporters that its foreign policy under the Pita government will no longer be a quiet policy, but it will be based on their so-called 3R strategy. Our reporter Frank Hanshi talked to a renowned economics analyst about how Thailand should position itself with the global superpowers.
Head of MUFO party Pita Limjaroenrat talked about the 3R policy when the media asked him about foreign policy. His 3Rs, which hope to revive Thailand's influence on the international stage, has drawn criticism and fear that Thailand might turn towards the United States. Along with this concern, the social media rumor mill began to buzz with conjecture that the US government had, in some way, been involved in this year's general election. The US embassy in Thailand reacted swiftly.
I do want to be clear that the United States did not interfere in the Thai election. Those pernicious conspiracy theories do a real disservice to the tens of millions of Thais who participated in their own country's democratic process.
One politician even claimed that the United States would set up a military base in Thailand after the new government gets into power. This was denied immediately by the MUFO party. Associate Professor Dr. Songchai Phakapawiwat, an independent political and economic analyst, say that under Pita's leadership, Thailand could engage with the US and China at the same time. But Thailand will gain nothing from keeping equal distance from both superpowers.
Ideally, Thailand and the ASEAN should not giving what we call equal distance, because equal distance is mean you lose everything. But you must, for example, balance what we call the engagement. We have to get engagement with China and also the US and the Western. I think one example that has done quite well is Indonesia, But Thailand have to adopt what we call a foreign policy, try to engage both, respect. But in that context, it's really difficult. If you look at one thing, Thai people, a lot more inclined to China because of the descendant and also because of the, feeling.
Professor Songchai also explained why the image of the US is not positive in Thailand. False information on the incursion into Afghanistan and a proxy war against China in ASEAN have circulated widely on Thailand's social media. That's why Thai people tend to accept China more than US.
Social media, in a sense, can say that, okay, you look at the history of America. America invade Iraq. America invade, for example, the Libya or something like that, and Afghanistan. So this kind of narrative will help people to hate America, okay? And secondly, they create, what about NATO? Why you have NATO? It has nothing to do with Ukraine. So America is going to, for example, create something in ASEAN, something like what we call a proxy or something like that against China. So this kind of narrative really influence in Thailand.
Thailand's lack of leverage on the international stage also draws concerns. Dr. Songchai said that Thailand was one of the leaders during the establishment of ASEAN, but Thailand's voice has been muted since, especially for the past 9 years.
You look at the history of ASEAN, Thailand played a pivotal role in a sense. The founding of ASEAN was initiated by Thailand. The Bangkok Declaration 1967 represents what we call the role of Thailand in contributing to the setting up of the ASEAN. Kun Thanat Khawman. Secondly, the setting up what we call the AFTA ASEAN Free Trade. That was also done by Thailand the former Prime Minister Kun Anand Panjalachun. Okay, even the ARF ASEAN Regional Forum has been initiated by Kun Surien Pitsuwan, but from the time on until now, silent, nothing happened. So the role of Thailand has been decreasing in terms of what we call international arena.
Dr. Song Chai told Thai PBS World that Thailand should rebuild its leverage in ASEAN and on the global stage. The next government also needs to act cautiously when engaging with the United States, regaining influence regionally while balancing with the US, China, and the West will be a challenge for the next Prime Minister.
So this is going to be very challenging for the Pita administration from now on, whether it's balancing the powers between China and the US as well as other countries. But we will have to wait and see how they will actually deal with it once they become the government.
It's interesting though, because a lot of people that I would call them Prayut Chan-o-cha supporter don't see this administration as leaning China. But when you talk to analysts or economists, they would say that we actually leaning toward China a little bit because after the coup, a lot of Western countries didn't really talk to Thailand because of democracy and politics and whatnot. It's their policies. So we don't have much choice or who we can talk to. So we leaning toward China. And now the foreign policy team of Pita actually try to explain that they just try to pull back to the middle.
Right.
But then there is also rumor by the camp that doesn't like what Move Forward is doing, saying that Move Forward is trying to bring in the enemy or bring in the US army to set up the army base in Thailand and whatnot.
But it seems like it has been a challenge for every single government, so we'll have to watch out for it.
I think it's a time when people, when they consume news, it's not just normal level of news literacy anymore. You have to really maybe step out of your comfort zone or the usual media outlet that you like to read or watch, and maybe seek other different outlet or agency to see whether there is any other camp or other kind of thought process going on.
Right.
Anyway, like we said, we're going to come back to see you every Wednesday until we get the new government, which I don't know when.
Yeah, probably in August though, but things can change. Many people speculate that it will be early August, but it can be delayed, so we'll have to watch out for it.
And you can come back to see us every Wednesday evening, or you can just log on to our website, www.thaipbsworld.com, to see any other kind of news, not just politics as well. And we have YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. สวัสดีค่ะ